off that grunt, and I think Winner's made a bit of a mistake in not just tanking it and finishing that off, but whatever, grunt lives, thankfully, and hey, P.S., here's some salves. So, cool stuff there. You'll notice that Grubby didn't exactly kill a ton of units. He got 2 unit kills. Now that Hunts and Dryads are both worth 60 experience, that got split to 30 apiece, and he killed 2 units. Now, he lost a Raider, and I think that might be about it. But yeah, he saved the grunt just barely and whatnot. So you saw just how amazing Spirit Link was. I mean, he's going to be against mass Dryad. Spirit Walkers can't even hit Dryads, and supposedly Dryads can dispel Spirit Link. But it ends up not really working out that well so much, and you'll see that as the game goes on. But, I mean, really, Spirit Link is just ridiculous. I mean, Dryads don't do a ton of damage. Mostly the reason that they're good is that they have the slow poison, and the damage stacks up, so you will do quite a bit of damage with slow poison over the course of a battle, but also it's to slow it down enough that you can easily focus something down and kill it before it gets too far away. When it's Spirit Linked, you're not going to do very well in terms of killing off that unit before it gets away or gets chain healed or what have you, which is why Spirit Walkers and the Shadow Hunter just mesh so well together. And the thing is, these units both came out in the expansion, Frozen Throne. I mean, Blizzard basically designed those 2 units and implemented them at the same time, knowing full well they're supposed to synergize. Guess what, guys? They actually do. I know it might be surprising, but it shouldn't be. So, Grubby right now has picked up some more items. He's got himself a TP and a heal scroll, and he's simply letting those creeps die. You notice he's keeping the Blade Master away from that camp, and he's moving the SH up towards it so that he can get enough EXP to level up to 3. And here comes the battle, and he's getting focused on. He's going to chop down that Dryad, and then he realizes, this army's a little bit big. I'm kind of scared, and he's going to end up actually TPing out. He runs the SH, tries to get the SH close to his army, and just runs away. And he manages to pick off 2 Dryads while only losing 1 Raider, so it's a pretty decent battle. However, the end of the battle, kind of ended with him losing a TP, which is fairly significant. But Grubby's going to run back in here and do what damage he can. Now, the Dryads are not upgraded, and neither are the Raiders. But at some point in this game, notice that Grubby is planning on upgrading. He has built the War Mill. He realizes, or acknowledges, or whatever, that this game will probably go into late game situations, or just simply a late game scenario, whatever. Late game, period. And thus, upgrades will be worth their cost significantly in that situation. So he casts Hex because he knows he's just going to get burned for the rest of his mana anyway, and he can just always chug a mana potion for his next chain heal anyway. But he simply does it just to, delay that mana burn and keep DH from doing damage output. I mean, it's just one of the small sort of player skill sort of things that you do. You notice, okay, I'm not going to have mana anyway, so screw it, I'll just do that. And really interesting stuff there by the Doom Hunter. Actually managed to mana burn him the second he ate the mana potion, and if he had actually been level 3 with level 2 mana burn by the time he did that, that would have been really pretty amazing. But this SH will go down. It's just simply, this is what the Dryads are good at, they slow stuff down, and then you have the Entangle as well for the extra damage output, and you just chop stuff down. And as a Raider comes in, finally, he's able to ensnare and focus down a Dryad a little bit, and he's able to, chop down on the Demon Hunter and whatnot. He really should be going for the rest of that Dryad there with his Blade Master, but you can see he's just trying to go for the targets that are killable. There's a nice critical strike. And this is obviously Blade Mastercraft at this point. Yeah, there's Dryads and some grunts running around, but it's really the Blade Master versus the heroes, and then how well the heroes and, the units supporting the heroes can survive against that. So you see the Blade Master just chopping down Dryads and saying screw it. So you can see the Blade Master is the reason that he won that battle, which is why he has so many circlets and claws and whatnot. That's why people shop for items so much, is because, grunts can fall, and Raiders can die, and, you can get entangled and shoot out, repeatedly and all over. But the Blade Master is very hard to keep down simply because of his armor and decent regeneration and the availability of Spirit Link and Chain Heal. Now again, for a quick analysis on how Spirit Link works, if a unit is linked, it will take, basically, the game does the math on how much damage it should take. If a Griffin's hitting a Grunt, it'll do the math and say 200 damage. If a Griffin's hitting a Blade Master, it'll do the math and say 30 damage, or what have you. Or, a Dryad, whatever. It will do the math and say, okay, 80 damage, just per se. Say, okay, 80 damage. Half that goes to the Blade Master. Blade Master takes 40. Half that goes to everything else that's linked. Peons, Grunts, whatever, they just take, 40 damage split 8 ways, so 5 apiece. So it does the math, says 80 damage, and then splits up the 80 damage as I just stated. That's how it works. There's no other rules involved. It does the math, then splits it up to things that are linked. Period. Now Grubby realizes that he is not in a good shape to win this. Winners has pretty easy positioning. He will not be able to get surrounded here because he can pull the Dryads back. I mean, yeah, he can get blocked up against the trees, but the thing is, this is melee versus range. You need an actual surround on the units. If you have a bunch of Dryads lined up against a wall, they won't die to grunts. Period. If you have open terrain, not counting, unit dancing, grunts will do significantly better in that kind of situation. So Grubby realizes that he's beaten for now, and is simply going to pull back. Unfortunately for him, he is above 50 food, and there's not much he can do about that, because that last 5 food is his Shadow Hunter, and he's not going to give up the SH just for no upkeep. So Winners is in a situation where he has tons of money, he has a better army, and really, he should be upgrading and teching Tier 3. If I were playing the game right now, I would upgrade and get Tier 3, and I would win. I would win this game, and I would not have lost to Grubby. But Winners fails and is a loser. So there you go. So what Grubby's doing right now is simply keeping tabs on his opponent. He knows how long this Windwalk will last. He knows he has enough mana to use another Windwalk, and there he goes, steals it. And really cool stuff there. He pops the invulnerability potion, which is pretty ridiculous, I guess, and then grabs the item and whatnot. Just, cute stuff there. Just simply would have been able to Windwalk again if he wanted to. I guess he chose not to, or something like that. I don't know. I think he got mana stolen from. I'm not quite sure. But, whatever. He got mana burned, and now it's just battle time. And this is really what Grubby was looking for, is he said, okay, look, my army is worse. I obviously couldn't even defend my own expansion. But if I get a Creepjack, hell yeah. Because this is very different positioning from the expansion battle. There's not a big structure in the way. His army can get right up there into the units. And the Demon Hunter was in front of the lines, And the Raiders... the Demon Hunter was in front compared to the creeps, and so the Raiders were able to get in there to the Dryads right away and ensnare and focus, and that's what happened. Positioning is 50% of how you win battles. I mean, obviously, the most important part of the game is simply your army composition and your micro and whatnot, and your individual both skill and strategy. But in terms of actual battle, micro is as important as positioning. Just simply put. That was kind of an attack movable battle for Grubby, basically, because of just the positioning. You ensnare and attack move, and it's going to work out pretty well for you. But Blademaster has a significant amount of mana. He obviously got Critical Strike at level 5 because you just don't really need that last level of Windwalk. You gain a fairly... I don't really know the exact number, so I'm not going to recite them for you, but I don't believe you gain much or at all of a movement speed boost between level 2 and level 3 Windwalk, because there's a speed cap on actual units. The duration is not really important. He already should have enough mana regeneration to simply re-Windwalk after completing a Windwalk. I mean, you'll notice that he's going to run out. He's going to be at about 60 mana, which is pretty decent. Most of the mana you get back over, just from pure regeneration in between. And simply put, by the time you're level 5 Blademaster, having another 15% damage boost is rather significant. So right here is simply, he got kind of jacked at the back of the map. Not much he could do about it. He sort of, was keeping tabs with the Blademaster, was running his army around to try to both look for expansions. He looked at the bottom left corner, and also to simply maybe even creep something, or stage an attack, possibly. For the most part, he was trying to find an expansion and maybe even pick a fight so that he could kill time for his expansion to go up. Now, what Winners knows is, okay, look, he kind of got a feel for what Grubby's army movements were. He knew that he was in his base most likely, and then, he came to the Creepjack, and then suddenly he was at the bottom of the map. So he knows he hasn't crept out any new expansions, and you're going to see Winners is basically just going to go either for an attack on the main or an attack on the expansion. Now, if I were Winners, I would have went and checked the expansion, at least had a Wisp go there for it. Winners makes a really big mistake here in setting his Demon Hunter up right in the middle of everything, and I don't know why he would do that. But he obviously got his hero killed and is bad at this game, and I don't know why he sent his Blademaster so far, or his Demon Hunter so far in front against a level 5 Blademaster. Now certainly most of the damage output came from a couple of consecutive critical strikes, all the while during Hex, and this is why you should always get an invulnerability potion, because yeah, he healed for 400 HP with the healing potion, healing scroll, but if he actually had an invul pot, he could have kept his stuff alive for a lot longer, and actually done some damage and done useful things long enough for him to entangle the Blademaster, get his Dryads out of the way, swap the staff around, stuff like that. So really just kind of poor play.